So, to start off this special week of the holidays, I thought I would uh, cover the elephant humanoids of Narrabeen Lake. This week I'm going to be doing alien abduction or alien cryptids. So, yeah, look forward to that. Australia has long been known for its bizarre fauna, both known and unknown. But there are few beasts to rival the bipedal, elephantine creatures that have managed to terrify local motorists, fishermen, and farmers. Creatures that some say are not even from Earth. Narrabeen Lake is the largest of three rainforest-shrouded estuaries located within a 9-mile stretch of coast along Sydney's northern beach, which is situated in the state of New South Wales. The first known sighting of the, quote, elephant humanoid occurred at 1:15 p.m. on April 3rd, 1968. One Mabel Walsh was driving along the Wakehurst Parkway alongside Narrabeen Lake with her nephew John. The pair was cruising at approximately 45 miles per hour en route to Newport when they both spied a peculiar being standing in shallow water of the lake. Walsh described the eccentric entity. It was a bit over 4 feet tall, with dark gray, tough, leathery skin, like an elephant's. It had small front legs and walked on its hind legs, which were thick and round like an elephant's. I didn't notice the tail or ears, but it had small eyes and smaller front legs or arms. Its head reminded me of an anteater's. Its trunk was rigid, squared off at the end, and one struck down and out of an angle. Evidently, this hybrid creature was not keen on being spied as. It wasted no time in propelling its rotund legs forward and exiting the shallows for a more concealed location. It came out of the water, stood up on its legs, and headed off into the brush in a fast, shambling sideways run. It ambled out of the lake and ran into the scrub. It had a strange shuffling walk, but was quite fast. It shocked me. It was a peculiar looking thing. I've never seen anything like it, and we saw it only for a few seconds. Unfortunately, due to the fact that they were heading to the airport, Walsh and her nephew did not have the time to more thoroughly investigate it. They stopped the car but had to wait for traffic to pass before they could back up, but the thing had gone. They were in a hurry. They had to get John to the airport. They didn't have time to call A1 and check on it. So the man was planning to keep watch by the lakeside in order to catch a second glimpse of this strange creature. So the next incident wouldn't occur until April of 1971, when it involved two new eyewitnesses. The witnesses in question were a pair of anglers who were engaged in some night fishing from a boat on Narrabeen Lake. The men would later claim that they had caught a glimpse of, quote, something in the flickering light of the kerosene lamp. When they raised the lamp for a better look, the two fishermen claimed they saw a gray pigmented brute that had a, quote, trunk like an elephant. They also confirmed that the creature employed a unique bipedal locomotion as it sloshed through the water. Later that same evening, an anonymous woman claimed that she was awoken by a, quote, terrible gurgling noise, but as she saw no anomalous animals, it was difficult to ascertain whether or not it was the same thing. So, a UFO researcher, Bill Chalker, investigated this phenomenon, and he tried to tie an association between humanoid elephants and ancient Hindu texts. Quote, they spent a number of evenings loitering around the Narrabeen lakes and environs, checking out the areas involved in these stories. Fortunately, no elephant humanoids were seen, and he was not able to determine any substance to a prosaic elephant connection. It is interesting that humanoid elephant-headed beings are a major feature of Indian religious mythology, namely Ganesh. So he was saying that these might have been incarnations of Ganesh. What? Okay, so the third encounter is one farmer Cecil McGann, who gave this tale to Chalker in a 19-page letter, which he sent to him in 1985. In the letter, McGann told a plethora of strange tales involving UFOs and brutally butchered livestock. So the account involved a group of truly curious creatures that McGann spied on his family farm in northern New South Wales when he was 10 years old back in 1927. In a scenario that is not difficult to compare to the Point Pleasant Mothman encounters, the McGann family and their neighbors had for weeks been tormented by strange zigzagging lights in the skies, giant birds, mysterious nighttime visitors, precisely exsanguinated cows and pigs, and a paddock full of spooked farm animals. One night, after watching an odd illuminated object perform aerial feats that would be difficult today and impossible in the 1920s, the family settled down for bed, dismissing the UFO as a dancing star. The following morning, cattle seemed agitated and refused to return to their grazing field, but within a few days, the cattle were down the hill in their grazing field at about 2 p.m. McGann insists the herd stampeded back up the rise, eyes bulging with terror, and the cows refused to return to this pasture and eventually were allowed to bed down in a small enclosure near the farmhouse. The cows remained in the enclosure for days and soon noticed that one of the herd had gone missing. The man went down to the field to see if he could wrangle the missing bovine. There was no way he could realize what he was about to lay eyes on, something that would haunt him for the rest of his days. In his own words, he walked out into the ridge in our day paddock to see if the cow had ventured out there during the day, and a strange scene confronted him as he looked down the ridge as there were two objects, one down on a small flat at the bottom of a ridge, and one amid bushes halfway down the ridge, and they were moving about and looked like small elephants. So he was saying that they might have been aliens. The very next morning, the family discovered 3 large pigs dead behind an 8-foot-high fence. Carcasses had marks on their neck, but much like in cases involving chupacabras, there was no evidence of spilt blood at the scene. Chalker was swift to point out that just because similarly described creatures were reported in the same locale, that one should not rush to assume that the humanoid elephants seen in 1968 or 1971 represent an alien species. Yeah. He went on to say it would probably be erroneous to speculate that the unknown creature reported above was related in some way to UFOs. There's no direct connection evident, and because a creature or one like it was seen again in the area, it would probably be more correct to suggest that the creature was an unknown species local to that area. Nevertheless, 2 weeks after this encounter in 1968, there's a rash of UFO sightings over Sydney. Following the mass sightings, several citizens of Sydney claimed that a dull orange object suddenly appeared in the skies above their fair city on April 20th. As the UFO descended, its hue transformed into the aforementioned flat orange into an iridescent blue. Seems like so there are some illustrations of elephant humanoids. It's just basically an elephant with standing up on its hind legs with like fur, like in this area. And those are illustrations of humanoid elephants from Zarakia ibn Muhammad al-Qazwini's, quote, marvels of things created and miraculous aspects of things existing, which was originally published in 1283 and reprinted in the 17th century in what is believed to be Mughal India. And the illustrations show all manners of bizarre beasts, and one of the most interesting is the so-called elephant-headed creature, which is described in the book as a jinn. So once again, hope you guys have a good holiday season. Thanks for watching. This has been your host, Luke. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe for more. See you tomorrow with a alien-related creature-ish. Peace out.